I don't know. Let's talk to somebody else. So let's change the subject a little bit and talk a little bit about that zoning reform, which I know many of you, we got as many calls on that issue of any other issue that we've done. And, I'm proud to introduce a former colleague of mine, a friend. I worked with her at the Fox, Connecticut, and Hartford Courant. Alexis Harrison. She's on the Board of Assessment of Appeals of Fairfield. She's a land use and environmental advocate. Alexis, how we doing?
Hey, good morning, George. Good to hear your voice, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you back on the airwaves.
It's great to be here, and I've been following you here on social media over the last few weeks, and certainly turned to some of your posts as I was kind of doing the research. Give me a little idea as to where, as an advocate, a land use advocate, where you stand here on this Desegregate Connecticut and some of these zoning reform bills that are
Yeah, and I would be careful of using the term reforms, because to me the definition of reform is when people of all parties, of all minds kind of come to the table and they really study and do their research and come up with reforms that are meaningful and that are impactful. Quite frankly, I think that is not the case here. I think we are seeing another example of Hartford pushing through initiatives and doing it fast, wanting to pass laws and ask questions later. And I don't think that's good for our state. I think these are good goals, but these are bad policies. To me, I love land. I love our environment, and land is unique. It's not uniform, and neither should our zoning regulations. And this is why I am really urging the General Assembly to put pause on this, to wait. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, you're talking about vaccines, George, with the last few callers. Yep. Why would we pass something that's going to be fundamentally changing our zoning regulations, removing local control during the middle of a pandemic when people are, they're not focused on this. They're focused on, educating their kids, getting the vaccine, getting back to normal. So I really think this is, being pushed too quickly.
And let's be honest. I mean, not only the vaccines, but, worrying about at home, potentially, the hybrid or the at home learning. I mean, you're trying to figure out how to work from home. You're trying to figure out how to teach your kids from home. You're trying to figure out, practices now as it's opened up. I mean, there's everything else just to survive right now.
Absolutely.
What's the spin in Fairfield? We've been hearing a lot about Greenwich, but as I did the research, Fairfield and Glastonbury are two other towns that Desegregate Connecticut have been putting a focus on. And so, what's the spin there around town with the people that you know?
I mean, I think people really want to keep zoning regulations to the hands of these volunteer lay physicians who know their communities the best. Yes. I can't speak for everybody in Fairfield clearly, but I think, many of us sit at these zoning commission meetings. We have our input, and those folks, they're experts on our town. And we really need to leave this decision making to communities, whether you're in Greenwich, whether you're in Putnam. I mean, as I said, land is not uniform, and, things are different in one town to another town. Bridgeport has its own topography and environmental issues and zoning, architecture and things like that. And so does Fairfield. So does a lot of other towns. You can't have uniform policies. Centralized, I think policies don't work in Connecticut.
As you're going to get, there's a little rally happening down in East Haven over this weekend.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that. So you guys know this is going to be at the East Haven Green from 12 to 1 o'clock. It's the Keep Our Zoning Local Rally. That's at the corner of Hemingway and Main Streets down there. Wear your face masks. Bring a sign. Keep it classy.
Yeah, keep it clean.
Right? I mean, this is a family show. And so, tell us a little bit about this rally at the New Haven Green at noon on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a group of people who, want to really, tell our General Assembly to say no to these draconian, proposals that are on the table. Mm-hmm. We don't have, residents of Connecticut and homeowners, we don't have paid lobbyists in Hartford. We rely on our representatives to be our voice. But that doesn't really seem to be happening during these deliberations. So that's why I'm here today. That's why so many others in Connecticut are loudly saying we want to keep zoning local. And that's what tomorrow is about. It's about dialogue. It's about connection. Or it's about just, let's do this the right way.
Are there any Democrats that you're working with right now, Alexis, that seem to be understanding your side of this issue? Or is this totally partisan at this point?
No, and, I don't think land should ever be partisan. The environment should never be a partisan issue. Matt Mandel, he's a gentleman in Westport. He actually sits, he's on the RTM in Westport. He's an environmentalist. He actually brought up a lot of issues, and he's a Democrat. Okay. It has become somewhat partisan, but I don't think it should be. Yeah. Again, our environment isn't a partisan issue. And, and I talk about the environment because, many of these laws would take away power from the local zoning commission. Yes. And many of these commissions in our towns, they act as mini, environmental protection agencies. Yeah. They make decisions on not just, zoning matters, but also how it relates to historical areas, environmental issues, wildlife habitat, topography, and the already built environment. So, getting rid of that power is going to be a fundamental change to Connecticut, and I don't think it's good for us.
Alexis Harrison, great to talk to you. Will you check in with us maybe in the future here and tell us how this rally goes?
Absolutely. Would love to, George.
Awesome. So I'll say it again. It's the Keep Our Zoning local rally Saturday, 12 to 1, East Haven Green. That's at the corner of Hemingway and Main Streets. Bring your mask. Bring a sign. Keep it classy. Alexis, thanks a lot for calling in.
All right. Thanks, George. Be well.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
And all the rest of you, give us a call. 860-522